in a space beneath the night organization's tea restaurant. Truly useless to be so seriously injured by a young dancer. If the master had sent me back then, that Dragon Palace young lord would have been mind-controlled into suicide. Balian mocked as she looked at Mixu, whose wounds were already bandaged. Lying on the hospital bed, Mixu remained silent. Balian taunted. What's the matter? Did I hit a sore spot? Is that why you're quiet? Yet Mixu still said nothing. Seeing this, Balian stopped smiling and pursed her lips. Fine, don't speak then. If I hadn't sensed your aura and saved you, you'd be dead by now. Hearing this, Mixu finally stirred. She turned her head and looked at Balian expressionlessly. Thank you. Balian clearly hadn't expected this woman to actually say thank you, and felt a bit awkward. You actually know how to thank people. Well, whatever. I'm not that kind of person anyway. But if the master had sent you instead, you probably wouldn't have crawled back alive. Balian's expression turned extremely ugly. Haha. I really do hate you, woman. At this moment, the manager walked over. He cleared his throat. All right, enough arguing. The strength of the Dragon Palace young lord is at Grandmaster level. We truly didn't expect it. This matter has already been reported to the master. As for Mixu, the manager paused and said, the master wants you to go to him tomorrow. He will help you recover your injuries. Mixu felt a little touched and guilty. Balian muttered, mission failed so badly. Yet she still managed to gain the master's favor. Truly baffling. Leng Xingku from the Leng family looked indifferent. Truly unexpected. That Dragon Palace young lord is actually a grandmaster. It's understandable that Mixu lost. Looks like the target must. We'll have to make a slight change. But why does this have to involve Gu Haoken? According to the investigation from our people, that Zhao Lin actually knows Wang Yulan. And it was because Gu Haoken called the police that he ended up getting arrested and put in jail. Leng Xingku frowned slightly. Zhao Lin is a grandmaster level fighter, and he was arrested because Gu Haoken reported him. It's inevitable he might bear a grudge and want revenge. If Gu Haoken gets ambushed by Zhao Lin, an attack like that, it would be terrible. No way. I absolutely can't let that kind of thing happen. Of course, it's not because I'm worried about his safety or anything. It's just that I serve him as his servant after all. And as such, I can't allow anything bad to happen to him. Besides, my cooking is actually really good. Speaking of which, Leng Xingkuyu's mind wandered a little. Gu Haoken didn't say whether he'd come tomorrow. What a troublesome guy. Although he's strong, with that kind of temperament, can he really go far? Before coming to pick up Zhao Lin, Bai Jun had already investigated the whole matter. When he learned that Zhao Lin got arrested because of a jealousy dispute, he felt extremely disappointed. After all, Bai Jun greatly admired the former owner of Dragon Palace, so he had always looked forward to the successor chosen by that legendary figure. But who would have thought? This person's performance was honestly underwhelming. Zhao Lin didn't understand why this man wanted to take him away. But at this moment, he didn't have the energy to think about it. Zhao Lin clenched his fists, his expression full of pain. His mind kept replaying the words I said to him. Zhao Lin was overwhelmed with guilt. If only he could. He really wanted to go visit Wang Yulan at the hospital right now. Suddenly, it was as if he sensed something. He abruptly raised his head and looked out the window. There he saw a figure crouched beside the car. It looked like she was crying. Shen Wanner. Zhao Lin quickly shouted, "Stop the car, over there." Because of the alcohol and the grief and frustration in his heart, he ended up sobbing right by the front of the car. And just then, "Boss, are you all right?" A familiar voice reached Shen Wanner's ears. She turned her head to look and saw the security guard she had hired standing behind her. He was looking at her with worried eyes. Shen Wanner wiped away her tears and shook her head. "I'm fine." "What are you doing here?" Zhao Lin stammered for a moment. "I was released cleared of charges." "Boss, what are you doing here?" Hearing this, Shen Wanner recalled the words I said. Looking at the nervous Zhao Lin, Shen Wanner smiled and asked, "Can you drive?" Zhao Lin nodded repeatedly. Shen Wanner handed him the car keys. As he took the keys, his hand brushed against hers. causing his face to turn red instantly. Meanwhile, Bai Jun watched the interaction between Zhao Lin and the woman. As he watched, he sneered with disdain. So this is the so-called young lord of Dragon Palace. Not impressive at all. Father must be out of his mind to want my little sister to marry him. As her brother, I absolutely won't let her marry such a man. By the way, speaking of that, didn't my sister say she was bullied by someone before? Bai Jun asked. Have we found out who bullied my sister? Yes, we did. They were just a bunch of street punks. The ringleader is named Shen Tian. He's the younger brother of Shen Wanner, the Shen family heiress. Previously, he had a lot of financial dealings with the Jiu family's young master. But according to our investigation, Jiu Heoken has already fallen out with Shen Wanner. Back then, it was Jiu Heoken who stepped in to save the young lady. Upon hearing this, a trace of killing intent flashed in Bai Chun's eyes. Unfortunately, as a dancer, he was not allowed to interfere in matters of the mortal world. And that Jiu family young master, he had heard of him before. Wasn't he supposed to be a simp for the Shen family heiress? But since he saved my little sister, that makes him a friend of mine. This favor Bai Jun would definitely repay it. Looks like I need to find a day to meet with this Jiu Heoken. Meanwhile, I stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows of the villa, quietly observing the two figures in the yard. When I saw Zhao Lin help Shen Wanner into the car, I smiled with satisfaction. Perfect, the plan is already halfway complete. Looking at the car carrying Zhao Lin away, I figured the person inside must be Bai Jun. Zhao Lin showing up here must be due to the correction of the world's power. After all, a sad, weeping heroine lying on the hood of a car clearly calls for a male lead to appear and raise the affection level. But I already knew the real turning point for their emotional connection was the death of Shen Tian. Only with Shen Tian's death would Shen Wanner emotionally collapse. Then Zhao Lin would be able to break into her heart. That's right. I already had Shen Wang drink that bottle of intense spirit water. It was the red wine Shen Wanner drank in one gulp. While Shen Wanner was crying under the influence of alcohol, Zhao Lin just so happened to be released. I had considered many plans before to weaken Zhao Lin's strength. One of them was, for example, to just straightforwardly eliminate Wang Yulan and the other heroines. But I quickly abandoned that idea. I decided instead to use these delicate heroines to inflict irreparable psychological damage on Zhao Lin. After thinking it all through, I already had a plan and direction for the next step. As I glanced at the time, 9:30, right on time. Zhao Qingqing, I'm coming to find you. I straightened my clothes, then skipped toward the underground garage. Inside Leng family's study, Mexu was lying flat on the sofa, her body shrouded in a dark mist. Leng Qingku stood in front of her, black mist continuously emanating from the book named in her hands, covering Mixu's body. Mexu tried hard to open her eyes, panting lightly as she looked at Leng Qingku. Leng Qingku calmly said, "Endure it, Mexu. The treatment will be over soon." Mexu gritted her teeth tightly, her body trembling uncontrollably. Inside her body, two forces were clashing fiercely, turning everything upside down. Finally, at the last moment, a more vicious black steam devoured the golden steam. The treatment ended. Mexu felt that the bottleneck in her cultivation had loosened slightly. Mexu understood that this was her master's doing. She panted lightly, her eyes dazed as she looked at Leng Qingku. "Thank you for your grace, master." Hearing Mixu's words, Leng Qingku nodded slightly. "There's a secret mission I need to assign to you." Mixu snapped out of it, quickly stood up, and knelt on one knee. "Master, please command me." Leng Qingku nodded slightly, though her expression was slightly awkward. "For the sake of the organization's greatest taboo, we need the power of the Jiu family. So, Jiu Heoken, as the next heir, is someone our organization must keep within our grasp. From now on, you'll follow Jiu Heoken in secret and protect his safety." At this point, he paused. Leng Qingku emphasized with a firmer tone, "Even if you die, Jiu Heoken must not die." Mixu's heart trembled violently, cold sweat already covering her face. She responded, "Master, actually, by Jiu Heoken's side, there's an old man by his side with immense strength. And the Gu family's background is anything but ordinary. I hope Master will be cautious. Leng Xingku, afraid of Xiao Lin retaliating against me, wanted Mixu to secretly protect me. When I'm in real danger, Mixu would show up and save me immediately, then leave with one line. You don't need to know who's protecting you. Just imagining it feels like it would be a flawless plan. That's how it was supposed to be. But then, at the Leng family dining table on the first floor, 3 people with different expressions sat together. Leng Xingku cleared her throat and calmly introduced. This is a relative's child. Her name is Mixu. She happened to stop by to visit me today. Mixu's expression looked extremely awkward hearing this. She didn't dare meet my gaze. Hello. My name is Mixu. I'm Leng Xingku's best friend. I glanced at Leng Xingku, then looked at the flustered Mixu. I had just come to the Leng family in high spirits, planning to enjoy a sweet and romantic time with my dear Xingku. But why? Why is this guy Mixu here? I forced a smile, then looked kindly at Mixu. Miss May, nice to meet you. My name is Jiyu Heoken. I'm Shinkin's. Thank you for always looking after her. Mixu also forced a smile and replied. I should be the one thanking you for taking care of Xingku. Of course, neither of them noticed. Leng Xingku's expression didn't change at all. But beneath the table, her hands were tightly clenched into fist. She felt incredibly ashamed inside. Damn it, this is awful. How could he call me that in front of my subordinate? What will they think of me? So humiliating, so embarrassing. Ooh, seriously, this is mortifying. Ding dong. Just then, the hourly chime sounded. I looked up. Then I said to Mixu, it's almost mealtime. Miss May, why don't you stay for lunch? Mixu looked conflicted upon hearing that. Whether she could stay or not was up to her master to decide. However, Leng Xingku smiled and said, Heoken is right. Mixu, just stay for lunch. Hearing that, Mixu quickly nodded. I looked speechlessly at the flustered Mixu. Come on. Can you at least act a bit more convincingly? What an idiot. No way, no way. I already get so little alone time with Xingku. I can't let this fool just barge in like that. I smiled. Miss May, could you head to the kitchen and help prepare some of the ingredients for lunch? I already asked the maid to bring them over. Just prep and slice them a bit. You should be good at that, right? Hearing that, Mixu felt a bit uncomfortable. Seriously. My master is an *Q**. Still, Mixu stood up and responded with a smile. All right. This is actually what I'm best at. As soon as Mixu left, the next second, a warm body pressed up against Leng Xingku. Xingku, you had guests over and didn't even tell me? I was so nervous, I could die. Leng Xingku's face flushed slightly red, especially since Mixu was still in the kitchen. She tried her best to push me away, but I clung to her like super glue, refusing to let go. But I also didn't want Xingku to feel too uncomfortable, so I pulled over a chair, then rested my hand on Leng Xingku's shoulder, pulling her toward my embrace. But she resisted and kept pulling away. And so, we entered into a tug-of-war. Xingku, it's been so long since we last met. Don't you miss me? Leng Xingku thought. It's only been one night. After struggling for a while, I realized I just couldn't pull Leng Xingku into my arms, and she said she was going upstairs to read. So in the end, I had no choice but to give up. Leng Xingku closed the study door and suddenly covered her face. A look of shame and frustration appeared on her face. Seriously, what a shameless guy. To do something like that in front of my subordinate. He completely ruined the image I had in their eyes. Leng Xingku gritted her teeth. No, this won't do. I absolutely cannot let Jiyu Heoken disrupt my plans or my state of mind. Since the Dragon Palace young lord is hard to deal with, then I'll shift focus to other weaker forces instead. Leng Xingku thought for a moment, a calculating look flashing in her eyes. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, the atmosphere was slightly tense. I was washing vegetables, and Mixu was slicing them. I asked kindly, what were you doing showering in my house? Mixu frowned slightly and replied, Master told me to wash up here. I nodded, then asked, did Chinku ask you to do anything else? Come on, tell me. Hearing that, Mixu went silent for a moment. After I was injured by Xiaolin yesterday, Master brought me here to recover. After the treatment, Master told me to secretly protect you. Upon hearing that, my face lit up. I even washed the vegetables with more enthusiasm. Really? As expected of my Chinku, I didn't think she cared about me that much, even going so far as to assign someone to protect me secretly. And on the surface, she still acts all tsundere, yelling at me to drop dead. Such a contradictory woman. Meanwhile, Mixu was silently sneering inside. Ha, stupid man. You probably have no idea what the master's real goal is. It's just to make you feel so moved that in the end we can take over your Gu family. I had no idea what Mixu was thinking. I was just happy, and in my mind, I was already thinking about a plot point from the original novel. If my guess is correct, a certain villainous ex-wife from Jianghai City. The Yanwang Hall is about to appear. That organization is one of the largest in Jianghai City, the biggest underground organization. They were involved in various industries. They even established a real estate company called Yangxing Group. They have many partnerships with the Gu family. It's quite a troublesome organization, but there's no need to worry too much. According to the plot development, this Yanwang Palace is eventually eliminated by the protagonist group. As I was thinking that, my expression turned strange. Wait a second. According to the detailed descriptions in the original story, Yanwang Palace wanted to annex all the families in Jianghai City. It seems they were ordered by Leng Chinku. I twitched at the corner of my mouth. So in the end, it was all your doing, Chinku. If Leng Chinku was the mastermind behind it all, then doesn't that mean I don't need to worry about villains like Yanwang Palace? After all, the original story is a typical hot-blooded hero tale. The protagonist group thought they had already defeated the strongest enemy, but in reality, there was an even stronger one behind the scenes. According to the information revealed after each villain's death, the true mastermind behind them all was actually Leng Chinku. As expected of our Chinku, as I kept thinking, something felt off. Wait, based on all the plot points in the original book, every villain the protagonist group encountered was actually being manipulated by Leng Chinku. Which means that at that time, Leng Chinku was already at an invincible stage. As for why she didn't just kill the protagonist directly, she explained in the original story. It was to make the protagonist experience the despair of watching those close to him die one by one, to make him feel the same pain she felt when her sister died. I twitched at the corner of my mouth. I realized something unexpected. Although the original book never explicitly explained how Leng Chinku became so powerful, based on various details, I can make a good guess. It's probably Leng Chinku completely broke down and turned dark because of her sister Leng Linger's death. She went completely dark and twisted, and used Leng Linger's heartblood to restore her eyesight. From then on, she became invincible. But as of now, Shen Qian hasn't killed Leng Linger, and I won't let her die either. Then how will Chinku regain her sight and become invincible? If she's not invincible, how can she control Yanwang Palace? Relying on the organization? It's not that I'm looking down on the organization, but according to what was said in the original story, before Leng Chinku gained her power, the strongest member of the organization was only at mid-grandmaster level. The current members of the organization probably aren't a match for Yanwang Palace. And Xiaolin has already suffered damage to his heart because of me. Once the martial heart is damaged, it's hard to break through again. Whether he can reach mid-grandmaster level, like in the original story, is uncertain now. If Yanwang Palace targets Leng Chinku, then things will get tricky. I took a sharp breath. Because I've been so focused on killing the protagonist Xiaolin, I subconsciously forgot that there are actually many other villains in this world. It's just that Leng Chinku is the biggest one, the final boss. But now Leng Chinku can't be the strongest anymore. And not just me, even her own safety isn't guaranteed. There must be another way. I thought for a moment. Oh right, there's still that half piece of the Dragon King Jade. A complete Dragon King Jade pendant can command the entire Dragon King Hall. The former old master couldn't command the Dragon King Hall because the Jade pendant was damaged. I don't believe that Leng Chinku can only restore her vision using Leng Linger's heartblood. to regain her eyesight. Forget it, for now it's best not to overthink it. My main opponent is still the protagonist's plot armor. My head's a mess from thinking too much. What's done is done. I turn off the faucet. I smile gently. Let's eat first. Meizu beside me felt a chill run through her body. She glanced over. Her expression had been like a palette since earlier, constantly changing. I thought to myself, could this guy have dissociative identity disorder? At lunchtime, Meizu lowered her head and ate quietly. While eating, she sneakily glanced up toward the front. She saw me sitting next to Leng Qingku, serving dishes and feeding her. I smiled and asked, Qingku, it's been a while since you ate my cooking. Do you miss the taste? With subordinates around, Leng Qingku naturally wouldn't reveal her true feelings. She didn't want her subordinates to think she was some overly sentimental woman. So she gave a warm smile, as warm as the rising sun. If it's made by you, then it must all taste great. Looking at this version of Leng Qingku, my heart skipped a beat. Wait a minute. What version of Leng Qingku is this? Why would she show me such a gentle, soft smile? No, wait. They say when a woman smiles at you, it means you've done something wrong. Could it be that I did something that Qingku found out about? I fell into deep thought. Meizu also watched nervously. So that's it. Master pretends to be a perfect wife and mother, just to gain my trust and affection. Right, that blank look on my face says it all. Master must usually be very gentle. Haha, too bad. No matter how carefully I calculated, I didn't anticipate that. Everything Master did was just to take Jiu Jiaji. Jiaji, Master truly lives up to the name. Leng Qingku, however, had no idea about the mental storm between the two outside. The delicious smell under her nose had already made her eager to eat. She slightly opened her mouth and tasted the dish I handed over. Her heart skipped a beat. Even her breathing quickened slightly. Leng Qingku felt like she was about to cry. It's so delicious. This is the taste wow. This is exactly what I missed. I'm so happy. Although Leng Qingku still wanted me to feed her, she had her subordinates around, after all. So she grabbed a napkin and wiped her mouth. She smiled at me, still stuck in self-doubt, and said, it tastes just like I imagined. Delicious. And before I could react, Leng Qingku picked up a pair of chopsticks. As if she knew exactly where each dish was, she picked something up and held it out toward my mouth. Under my stunned gaze, she gave a gentle smile and said, here. Though she smiled on the surface, inside she was filled with unbearable embarrassment. Even the hand holding the food was trembling. Leng Qingku had considered acting as prideful as usual, to show her usual arrogant demeanor toward me. But with Meizu nearby, she didn't want her subordinate to think I was like a servant constantly trying to please her. Nor did she want her subordinate to start looking down on me. Of course, it wasn't because of all those thoughts or anything. It was simply, purely. So purely that it couldn't be more pure. That she didn't want her so-called husband to be looked down on by others. So, she was willing to act gentle, kind, and thoughtful toward me, even if that might affect her image in the eyes of her subordinates. That being said, Leng Qingku's smile was starting to falter. Why isn't he eating yet? Come on. Do you think my hand doesn't get sore? The next second, I placed my hand gently on Leng Qingku's forehead and asked worriedly, Qingku, do you have a fever? Are you feeling unwell? I was starting to feel uncertain. Usually, she's either yelling at me to get lost or glaring at me, telling me to die. Why does Leng Qingku seem like a different person today? She was actually being so gentle and considerate to me. Leng Qingku kept smiling. She didn't put down the chopstick she used to serve food. She looked up at me kindly. My face twitched. I looked down. I saw that Leng Qingku, wearing home slippers, was stepping hard on the top of my foot. Hey Oken, what are you talking about? Haven't I always been like this? And come on, eat up. I picked this for you specially. Leng Qingku twisted her right foot slightly. As she continued speaking gently, no matter what, I can read her signals by now. And during the pain, I sat back down and bit into the food Leng Qingku held out with her chopsticks. Despite the pain in my foot, my heart was filled with pure happiness. I didn't know exactly what was going on, but this version of Chinku was just amazing. Meizu looked at me and sneered. HMPH, you're happy now. But when Master takes over the Gu family, don't come crying to me. But to be fair, Gu Heoken's cooking is really good. At that moment, I suddenly looked at Meizu and said with a smile, "Oh right, Meizu. I have a favor to ask of you." Meizu looked a bit awkward, faced with my sincere attitude. She asked, "What is it?" I said seriously, "It's nothing much. Didn't Chinku ask you to protect me in secret? But it's fine. I have other experts around me. I don't need you. So, why don't you go protect Chinku's sister, Leng and I?" Meizu frowned at my words, but Master's order was to protect you. I smiled gently at her. Then treat this as the second favor you're doing for me. And maybe this will turn out to be a good thing for you. A good thing? Meizu thought for a moment, then nodded. All right, but are you really going to use your favor on something like this? Meizu couldn't quite follow my train of thought. What does someone else's safety have to do with Gu Heoken? I nodded slightly, but what Meizu didn't know was, my gaze subtly turned inexplicably strange. I had Lao Gao investigate Mixu's younger brother before. I didn't expect it to be him. Hey, interesting. Could this be fate? In a bathroom at Jianghai High School, a boy with dyed blonde hair threw a punch at a small frame boy's face. Didn't I tell you not to keep staring at Linger? The latter held his slapped cheek, trembling as he apologized. I'm sorry. Besides the blonde boy, there were several other boys around his age with him. Whoa, this guy's crying. Are you even a man? Ha ha ha. Hearing his buddies, Wang Zilin felt quite satisfied inside. Deng Feng, I suggest you give up your little delusions. Don't think that just because you have good grades, you can have something going with Leng Linger. Seriously, Linger clearly likes me. Why would she go for some other guy? Deng Feng, hearing Wang Zilin insult him and his family, he clenched his fists tightly, but then helplessly loosened them again. Why am I so useless? The people insulting my parents and my sister are right in front of me. Yet, I don't even have the courage to stand up to them. And just then, an angry and sharp female voice sounded from the bathroom entrance. Wang Zilin, get your hands off him. There stood Leng Linger, looking angrily at Wang Zilin and the others. Wang Zilin's face turned a bit ugly, but he didn't dare say anything. Linger, what are you doing? I was just teaching a lesson to this clueless loser. Leng Linger frowned. Linger, you call me that? Are we that close? And the person you were teaching a lesson to is my friend. Apologize now. Friend, that loser? Wang Zilin kept his smile. Seems like he can barely hold on. Apologize? You want me to apologize to this loser? Leng Linger, are you kidding me? Leng Linger didn't hide the anger in her eyes. Loser, did you eat shit or something? Your mouth is so nasty. Apologize to him. In the end, Wang Zilin muttered, sorry. After saying that, he gritted his teeth and glared viciously at Deng Feng. You better remember this. It's over now. Leng Linger asked worriedly, are you okay? Deng Feng stared blankly at Leng Linger, his eyes glinting slightly with light. Instinctively, he wanted to reach out his hand, but then an image suddenly flashed in his mind. The man who came to pick up Leng Linger that day. That man is Leng Linger's boyfriend. Someone like me. I'm fine. Deng Feng forced a smile and shook his head. Then he stood up, supporting himself against the wall. Thank you. Bai Kaionlin glanced at the fleeing Deng Feng. He left Linger. Aren't you going to ask him about today's lesson? Leng Linger sighed with a bit of frustration. Damn it. I was planning to ask him something. Why did he just run off? Forget it. I'll just go ask my sister instead. Seeing this scene, Bai Kaionlin chuckled. What's this? You suddenly want to be a good student now. Do you actually want to go to college? Leng Linger let out a smug little laugh. I'm only telling you this, but my brother-in-law said if I get into college, he'll take me to get my driver's license. He even said I can pick any motorcycle I like. As she spoke, she looked a bit unhappy. It's just that he's been so busy lately. He hasn't come to pick me up at all. Hearing that, Bai Kaionlin's eyes lit up. Our brother-in-law is actually that nice. Then that girl should back off. That's my brother-in-law. The two of them bickered playfully. As they walked away, after they left, a middle-aged man came over. That boy seems to have a power unlike anything ordinary inside him. He seems well suited to our Zhuan Wusek's cultivation techniques. The sect master said he's the heir we're looking for. That afternoon, Leng Xingku had company issues again, plus matters of revenge and problems with the Yama Palace. It's really hard to just stay wrapped in tenderness all the time. Leng Xingku pulled me aside and said, Mixu may be my best friend, but she won't stay here forever. Heyoken, just see her off, will you? Mixu also coughed awkwardly. Yeah. I still have work this afternoon. Just drop me off where I work. That's enough. I nodded in agreement. All right. After seeing the two of them off, I drove the luxury car and remember what I told you. You must ensure Lang Linger's safety. Don't be as foolish as when dealing with Xiaolin last time. Remember, don't fight a battle you can't win. Mixu felt a little ashamed hearing that. I understand. After speaking, I gradually disappeared. Arriving at Jianghai High School, Mixu hid in the shadows of the night. She quickly located her target. Lang Linger Mixu quietly sensed the surroundings. There didn't seem to be any danger nearby. Looks like this mission will be an easy one. But at that moment, she frowned slightly. Hey, a skinny boy was staring at Lang Linger. An enemy. Mixu looked carefully. She saw that the skinny boy's eyes were full of admiration. Turns out he's just a love-struck loser. Mixu scoffed in disdain. A coward like that. How could he ever deserve to be with the master's sister? A toad dreaming of eating swan meat. At the same time, she thought to herself, if it were my younger brother, he'd be about the age to take the college entrance exam too. At the headquarters of Yama Palace, an old man with withered arms trembled as he picked up a file from his hands. Standing across from him was a man with a cold and stern expression. Godfather, based on our investigation, Leng Xingku from the Leng family truly has. The old man put down the file in his hands, as if letting out a sigh of relief. If that's the case, then we no longer need to interfere with the Leng family. We've already made too many mistakes back then. If it weren't for that thing being in the Leng family's possession, we wouldn't have. But before he could finish, he coughed up blood. The stern-faced man showed concern. Godfather, are you all right? I'll call the doctor right away. A trace of pain appeared in Yan Huang's eyes. No need. This is retribution. The aftermath of that great war back then was too terrifying. Ordinary medical treatments can no longer help, unless we find the person who caused this wound to heal it. There's no way to cure it at all. The stern-faced man paused when he heard that. It's rumored that within Dragon King Hall, there's a miraculous doctor who can raise the dead and restore bones. If we could bring him here. Hearing that, Yan Huang gave a bitter smile. The events of the past shattered the Dragon King's jade. Even the old master vanished without a trace, let alone finding the hidden Dragon King Hall now. This is fate. He looked seriously at the stern-faced man beside him. Wronger, you're the godson I value most. So, I want to tell you something from my heart. The Leng family is no longer what it used to be. We've committed many wrongs in the name of eliminating demonic forces. In the process, we've harmed too many innocent lives. So, we must never target the Leng family again. Before he finished speaking, Long Zaishan solemnly nodded. Yes, Godfather, I promise you. Yan Huang closed his eyes, leaning back in his chair. Wronger, let me rest a bit. I'll leave the company matters to you. But you must remember, we must never wrong the common people. Our only goal is to eliminate the demonic path. Long Zaishan replied, Yes, Godfather, I'll follow your every word. But what Yan Huang could never have imagined was, as he closed his eyes to rest, a trace of disdain flashed in Long Zaishan's eyes. Old man, your time is long gone. With such immense power and influence, you only think about hiding in Jianghai? Don't worry once you're dead. I'll make sure Yama Palace dominates the entire world. And the first target will be that old hometown you've been feeling guilty about for years. Time slowly passed. After Mixu left, Lao Gao, who had been following me, resumed his duty as the driver. I sat in the back, eyes full of wicked amusement. Mei Zhu should be just about to meet her target. though she most likely won't recognize him. After all, that guy named Deng Feng is still a weak and useless loser right now. I chuckled softly. If things go as expected, Deng Feng will soon be noticed by someone from the Zhuanwu sect and be taught cultivation techniques. That will open the path of cultivation for him. He'll become one of the main character's companions, staying by the protagonist's side, becoming his indestructible meat shield. However, in my mind, flashed the image of his timid admiration for Leng Linger. Too bad if it were a female character, that'd be fine. I could still use my charm to make her dislike the protagonist, but a male side character, my eyes turn cold. I'm sorry, but you have to die. Just then, Lao Gao spoke up. Young master, I've finished investigating Yangtze Group's information. This company, on the surface, is a charitable real estate company known for its donations. But behind the scenes, they're involved with many local criminal organizations. He gritted his teeth and said, Young master, the reason Yangtze Group is so brazen and lawless is because they have martial artists among them. And before he finished speaking, I interrupted. All right, I got it. Even though I already knew about the dirty things Yangtze Group did, still, hearing it again felt unbelievably ridiculous. What gave them such confidence and resources was actually the palace of Yama. If his guess was right, the only one capable of doing all this must be the owner of the palace of Yama, Yan Huang. That should be it. Lao Gao seemed to have thought of something. Young master, there's one more thing to report. Yangtze Group is holding a banquet, and they invited us. Master Ji wants you to attend on behalf of the family. I was a bit confused. Why are they suddenly hosting a banquet? Lao Bao also hesitated a bit. Supposedly, it's for Yan Huang, the main controller of Yangtze Group, who's seriously ill. Really, this banquet is actually meant to choose the next successor. Illness. I froze for a second. Wait, does that mean Yan Huang is dying? That can't be. In the original story, he was still alive and kicking. If he's dead, how does he end up clashing with the protagonist, Zhao Ling? It felt strange to me. A suspicion surged in my heart. As expected of Leng Xingqiu's ability, it can actually bring someone back from the dead or extend their life. But Wenyan didn't say anything. If he didn't say it, then it probably didn't happen, right? I was starting to get a headache. One thing after another. Most importantly, everything was completely different from what I remembered. Forget it. I'll just take it one step at a time. I rubbed my temples. When is it? I'll attend. The afternoon, the day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, huh? I nodded. And right at that moment, my phone notification sound went off. I picked it up and looked. I had already guessed this person would contact me, so I directly called back. Hello? Sister Yin Yan, why did you suddenly decide to message me? Shouldn't you be busy sentencing Zhao Lin right now? A voice quickly came through the phone. Jiu Heoken. Where are you now? Something unexpected happened here. I laughed. Forget it. I'll just come find you directly. I ended the call. Putting away my phone, I chuckled. A strange glint appeared in my eyes. Let me think. As for Chun Yinyan's plot point, it should be that event, right? But behind that event was also someone from the Palace of Yama. No matter how it twists and turns, it all ties back to the Palace of Yama, as expected of the ex-wife antagonist. But besides Chun Yinyan, there's also Wang Yulan. His storyline is also about to unfold, and the Dragon King Hall too. I must get the other half of the Jade Pendant as soon as possible. And there's Mixu. She and her brother are both unstable factors. And Shenmue too. He's the most critical yet most hidden part. All of them are threats to Leng Xingqiu in the future. I must eliminate them all. Even if it means more people have to die. It doesn't matter, as long as the people by my side stay alive. I need to seize the next plot point quickly. A sense of urgency rose in me. The plot has already started to deviate. Before everything changes beyond recognition, I need to eliminate all known threats. Otherwise, my family, Qingqiu, and even I might end up dead. Lao Gao was driving. He glanced at me through the rearview mirror and saw me deep in thought. He felt a bit worried. Young master had become mature and steady, but for some reason, Lao Gao felt like young master was carrying something heavy, something very heavy. After thinking for a moment, he finally spoke, interrupting my thoughts. Young master, the Jiu family is big, You can rely on the power of your family sometimes. After all, you are the young master of the Gu family. I snapped out of it, stunned. I couldn't help but smile. Thank you, Lao Gao. You're right. How could I have forgotten about the Gu family? The biggest reason for the Gu family's downfall was because the protagonist, Zhao Lin, led all his forces to attack together. That's why it was destroyed. But don't forget, the Gu family's foundation isn't something to be underestimated. If that's the case, then I have a new plan. Arriving at Chen Yinyan's building, Chen Yinyan apologized. Gu Heoken. I'm sorry. I was confused, Yin Yanji. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Why are you apologizing to me? Chen Yinyan hesitated, then said, like you said, you were right. Zhao Lin really does have a strong background. I showed a surprised expression. Was she implying what I thought? So you're saying? As you guessed. Zhao Lin was taken away by a group called the Waxia Special Operations Investigation Department. The one who came for him is named by Jun. Do you know this organization? Gu Heoken? I can tell you seem to know a lot. Can you tell me? My dad refuses to say a single word. I sighed. So this really did happen, huh? Yin Yanji, what if I told you magic exists in this world? Would you believe it? Chen Yinyang gave a faint, bitter smile. If you'd asked me before today, I definitely wouldn't have believed it. But what happened last night was too unbelievable. I had no choice but to believe it. So Zhao Lin is a magician, and those organizations exist to keep magicians in check. I nodded. That's one way to look at it. But Zhao Lin isn't a magician. He's a dancer. Because of my special identity, a lot of people want to kill me. That's why I know about the dancers. Dancers are not bound by the laws of the secular world. The only ones who can punish them are the dancer departments. Upon hearing this, Chen Yinyan already felt her worldview was being shaken. I had no reason to lie to her. Plus, that night she saw Zhao Lin, with the light glowing from his hand. Actually, Chen Yinyan already half believed it. So, there are so many hidden secrets in this world. I looked at the pensive Chen Yinyan. Sister Yingying, what do you plan to do next? Do what? Chen Yinyan thought for a moment. The confusion in her eyes was gone. I want to catch Zhao Lin, send him to prison. Who knows whether that so-called by Jun was telling the truth when he said Zhao Lin didn't kill anyone? Is it really true? I smiled lightly and said, all right then, Sister Yingying, that makes us allies. Zhao Lin hurt my friend and tried to kill me. Of course, I want to catch him too. Let's work together then. Chen Yinyan also held my hand tightly. All right, if there's any news, I'll let you know. As she spoke, she looked at old Gao. Grandpa Gao, take me back to the police station. There's a problem that's been bothering me. It seems like it can finally be solved. Old Gao nodded. I really didn't expect it. Sheng Goping, that guy, never wanted his daughter to enter the dancer world. Yet who knew it would be my young master who brought her in? This is getting interesting now. There was a trace of excitement in Chen Yinyan's eyes. If things go as expected, then the serial murder case at Zhuang Kaishui Garden might be solved very soon. I glanced sideways slightly, looking at the excited Chen Yinyan. I curled the corner of my lips. Is the Kaishui Garden arc about to begin? In the Leng family study, a butterfly landed on Leng Qingquyu's desk. It turned to dust and drifted out the window. Meanwhile, Leng Qingquyu's expression gradually turned cold. So that's how it is. The owner of the King Yin Hall is physically failing. So in today's, he'll hold a banquet to announce his successor. Hey, interesting. A trace of killing intent flashed in Leng Qingquyu's eyes. Since he's already a dying man, there's no harm in putting him to use one last time. Oh right? He also has a most favored adopted son named Long Zaishan, a young and strong body, perfect for sustaining that old man's failing functions. Even trash has its value. The banquet the day after tomorrow. I have to attend that as well. Of course, not in an official capacity, but as the king of the night organization. That banquet will definitely be lively. But no one will expect that the owner of King Yin Hall will also become his puppet that day. Jianghai High School. Deng Feng stared intently at the luxury car driving away in the distance. Every day after school, he would stand here watching Lang Yan go home. A wave of unwillingness surged in Dang Feng's heart, along with a hint of loss. Linger's boyfriend came to pick her up. In the distance, a man in glasses spoke to the short old man beside him. Master, what do you think? The old man showed a look of satisfaction. If this child cultivates the Zhuan sect's techniques, he will definitely revive the glory of Zhuan sect. Go talk to him. There's a pure Zhuan force within him. He is very likely one of the prophesied chosen ones, destined to save the world. Yes, Master. But just as he said that, the man in glasses saw a group of people heading toward Dang Feng. It was Wang Zilin and his gang. The man in glasses was shocked, just as he was about to stop them. The old man shook his head and said, "Wait, don't stop them." Yes, Master. The man in glasses hesitated for a moment, but chose to wait and see. Second floor study. Leng Xingku was contemplating the plan for the day after tomorrow. According to investigations, King Yanhal's Xing Group is a leading company in Jianghai. Yanhuang also has high prestige. Most of Jianghai's influential families will likely be invited to the banquet. This certainly includes the Jiyu family. There will be more than 10 dancers at the banquet, and a large number of security personnel guarding the venue. By Yanhuang's side will be his personally trained loyal guards, as well as his adopted son and daughter. Their cultivation level should be quite high, but Leng Xingku estimated it wouldn't exceed early Grandmaster stage. On his side, there were currently 9 people. Each had different cultivation levels and abilities. Leng Xingku already had a rough strategic plan in mind. Next, all that remained was to have her people hide and infiltrate the banquet. They just needed to be careful not to replace anyone from the Jiyu family. After sorting everything out, Leng Xingku opened her eyes. The special runes in her eyes began to shimmer slightly. Although she had no cultivation herself, she could still use some powers that inherently belonged to her. King Yanhao, hey, let me make you part of my force. Jianghai High School, why are you treating me like this? Deng Feng's eyes were filled with confusion and despair. They warned him not to even think about getting involved with Leng Linger. But I didn't do anything. Can I even just stand here and look at Linger? Do you really have to take everything away from me? Deng Feng cried. In the shadows, Meizu looked at the timid boy lying on the ground, with a look of utter disdain in her eyes. But Meizu shifted her gaze to a tree not far from Deng Feng. Why are people from the Zhuan sect here? What connection do they have with that boy? The next second, the elder from Zhuan sect and the middle-aged man walked over. Child, you want to protect the ones you care about. Deng Feng was stunned when he opened his eyes. Two people were standing next to him. Who are you? Deng Feng asked, a bit afraid. Don't be afraid, child. Just tell me this. Do you want to protect the one you truly care about? The elder gently reached out his hand. Deng Feng stared blankly at the hand being extended toward him. To protect the one I truly care about. A vision of Leng Linger flashed through his mind. The figure that had saved and helped him. He had fallen in love with her because of it, but he was too weak. So weak that he didn't even have the courage to confess his feelings to Leng Linger. I want to protect her, but how can I protect her? I'm too weak. I just can't do it. Deng Feng cried out, choking with emotion. It's okay. We will help you grow stronger. We'll help you gain the strength to protect others. From the shadows, Meizu's eyes were filled with killing intent. So that's how it is. This boy, he's the chosen successor of the Zhuan sect. No wonder Jiyu Heoken sent me to protect Linger. Miss must have known about this long ago. No, this won't do. I must report this to the master immediately. With that, Meizu's figure swiftly disappeared. She also added Deng Feng to her must-kill list. The day after tomorrow is the banquet held by King Yanhao. According to my guess, in Jianghai City, most family representatives will probably attend. The security must be extremely tight. Could it be that I'll encounter a scenario straight out of a novel? The classic protagonist humiliates the villain scene. I felt a spark of amusement in my heart. Yes, I really want to witness that scene firsthand. The Shen family Shenwaner fell into deep thought. The day after tomorrow, she would be attending the Yangxing Group banquet. The banquet hosted by Yangxing Group. Which dress should I wear to attend? She felt a little nervous and excited. Although the Shen family's pharmaceutical business had returned to normal operations due to Gu Haoken's actions, they had still lost many partners and market credibility. Shen Wanner showed a hint of hesitation in her eyes. Will Gu Haoken be there too? She thought for a moment and shook her head. Even if Gu Haoken goes, it doesn't matter. There's nothing between us anymore. I shouldn't overthink it. Just then, her phone vibrated. It was a message from Zhao Lin. President Shen, are you asleep? A look of helplessness appeared in her eyes. Last time, in a moment of impulse, she let Zhao Lin take her back to the company, and even added him as a friend. As a result, he thought she might be interested in him. Or something like that. He kept messaging her all the time. But really, he's just a security guard. How could she possibly like someone like that? Still, Shen Wanner thought for a moment. Zhao Lin's strength wasn't bad. Maybe she should assign him as her personal bodyguard. That way, she wouldn't be bothered by annoying people trying to flirt with her. With that thought, Shen Wanner started chatting with Zhao Lin. Outside Bai Qianlin's room in the Bai family home, her father Bai Qiandang was pounding hard on the door. Qianlin, come out here. Don't be so stubborn. You must meet the boy no matter what. Bai Qiandang shouted loudly. After yelling, he shook his head and walked away. Inside the room, Bai Qianlin's eyes were full of tears. Downstairs, Bai Zhen watched as his father stormed down angrily. Dad, I met the guy. He's not suitable. Don't let little sis meet him. Bai Qiandang shook his head seriously. You don't understand, Zhao Zhen. This man was personally recommended in a handwritten letter by the former Dragon King. Do you think I dare treat it lightly? Who would dare gamble on whether the former Dragon King might return? After leaving the Leng family, Meizu began reporting everything that had happened today. Master, while I was protecting, when I went to Jianghai High School to pick up Miss Linger, I sensed the aura of a dancer. Then I discovered members of the Zhuangwu sect. They had their eyes on a student named Deng Feng. And that Deng Feng is a classmate of Miss Linger. Hearing this, Leng Xingkuyu's face turned cold. Her hands clenched tightly. The Zhuangwu sect, one of the forces that once helped destroy the Leng family. Who would have thought their chosen successor would be a student from Jianghai High School? And coincidentally, he just happens to be Linger's classmate. It was hard for Leng Xingku not to overthink it. Although he really wanted to have Meizu killed Deng Feng immediately. Doing so might alert the Zhuangwu sect and provoke them. If he was going to strike, he'd have to eliminate both the successor and the Zhuangwu sect all at once. Thinking this, Leng Xingku took a deep breath and slowly said, All right, I understand. I'll have Zhang Zilan watch over Linger. You continue to protect Gu Haoken. Meizu's figure slowly faded away, while Leng Xingku clenched her fists tightly. The Zhuangwu sect. Looks like I'll need to ask Linger about Deng Feng. Early the next morning, on the track of the Qianhu Cave Villa estate, I was dressed in sportswear, starting my regular morning workout. Just then, two figures ran ahead of me. I don't think I've seen them before. After running for so long in the mornings, I've gotten to know quite a few regulars. But I didn't think too much of it. Up ahead, the man sighed and whispered to the woman next to him. Yan Xingqing, can you stop running back home without a word? What if the paparazzi catches you? I know you're upset, because someone snatched the role you wanted. But what can we do? That person was forced in by Yangxing Group's investment. Yangxing Group has business ties with Gu family's entertainment companies. Compared to them, our Xingkong Entertainment simply can't compete. Yan Xingqing shouted, as if no one else has a background. Yangxing Group is so great, huh? What really bothers me is that the song I sang got beaten by some unknown internet singer. Her new song Melody of Love had been steadily climbing. And then suddenly, it got surpassed by some song called Love Confession Balloon. Some random internet song beat hers. It was infuriating, and the most annoying thing, the song even sounded like something the guy next to me would sing. It's driving me crazy. Her manager looked embarrassed. There's always someone better out there. Xingqing, keep your voice down. What if someone recognizes you? Leng family, back at the Leng home. Leng Xingku and I sat on the living room sofa. The TV was on, broadcasting the morning news. Good morning, citizens. As you can see behind me, this is the scene of this morning's crime. Counting the previous ones, this is already the 5th murder in Kaishuiyuan residential area. I turned to Leng Xingku, who seemed deep in thought, and said, Xingku, listen to this. The world is getting really dangerous these days. That's the 5th murder in Kaishuiyuan already. They say each victim had wound marks on their chest like claw marks. Could it be a wild beast from the zoo? Maybe it escaped its cage. Leng Xingku thought briefly, then calmly said, it's unlikely to be a known animal. If it were, the culprit would have been caught already. But don't worry too much. Kaishuiyuan is far from here anyway. Something like that won't happen to us. I chuckled and said, hee hee. Xingku, you're not afraid, so I can rest easy. Leng Xingku snorted and said coldly, you talk too much. The police officer on the TV screen was someone I recognized. It was Chun Yin, speaking seriously to the camera. Dear citizens, please trust the police. We will definitely catch the murderer behind the Kaishuiyuan residential murders. Is the plot finally about to begin? However, the culprit behind Kaishuiyuan is not easy to deal with. That person is extremely dangerous and also has ties to King Yin Hall. Chun Yin will definitely come to ask me to investigate together. Thinking that, I switched the channel and said, by the way, Xingku, I'm attending a banquet tomorrow, so I won't be home. Leng Xingku replied blandly. Is it the Yangxing group banquet? Yes, they also invited our Leng family. Tomorrow, Linger will go with Leng Shinan. I see. I smiled and said, all right, then. But what about your meals tomorrow, Xingku? Leng Xingku said flatly, that's none of your concern. I grinned cheekily. I just like you, Xingku, an independent woman of the new era. Leng Xingku couldn't help but crack a smile. Suddenly, Leng Xingku seemed to think of something. There might be some particularly attractive women at the banquet tomorrow. Don't go falling for them just because they wave a finger at you. I was immediately upset when I heard that. Are you questioning my character? Xingku, I only love you. The next day arrived. I opened my phone and received a message from Chun Yin, Gu Haoken. I know this might trouble you, but I still hope you can help me investigate a certain case. So she really did call on me. After replying with okay, I was still wondering when she would arrive. The next moment, I heard my mom Sumerong's surprised voice from downstairs. Gu Haoken, come down quickly. Come see who's here. When I came downstairs and saw Chun Yin chatting with Sumerong, my expression turned a little helpless. So, Yingji, you're already in my house. How can I possibly refuse you now? Seeing my helpless expression, Chun Yin smiled too. Time is tight. This case is just too important. As she spoke, she looked at the confused Sumerong and said, Annie, I'm taking Gu Haoken with me. I nodded. All right, but I need to be back before the evening. I have a banquet to attend. Got it, Mom. I'm going out with Officer Chun for a bit. After I said that, the two of us left, leaving Sumerong completely confused. Wait, can someone tell me what's going on? Did my son commit a crime? Or was he just taken away by my husband's friend's daughter? Justice over family? Or is this for show? I really don't get it. While we were on the road to Kaishuiyuan residential area, I was looking at a stack of documents. While listening to Chun Yin explain, she held up a photo of a man with empty eyes, looking exhausted, and said, the Kaishuiyuan case started in May this year. This is the first victim, Jiao Hangkai. He was a young man who came to Jianghai to work. For some reason, he stopped going to work starting in April. He just stayed home all the time, until May 15th, when he was found dead in his home. He had no family, so no one even came to claim his body. I looked at the photo of Jiao Hangkai's corpse. The claw mark-like wounds looked familiar to me. The plot details kept flashing through my mind. Chun Yin looked seriously at me and asked, Gu Haoken, was this done by a dancer? I nodded. That's right, it was indeed a dancer. Up ahead, Old Gao's expression flickered. After listening for so long, he had more or less figured it out. Next, young master is going to Kaishuiwan community to investigate the murder case with Miss Yingying. The most important thing is, there's a dancer manipulating things behind the case. So I spoke up, young master. The matter of the dancer should be handled by the Inspire department. I can report this to the dancer department. Hearing this, Chen Yan was stunned. She looked at me. If professionals can handle it, that would be best. However, I showed a mysterious smile. The dancer department already knows about it. It's just for some reason they haven't caught the culprit yet. If they know, then why haven't they arrested the criminal? Chen Yan asked instinctively. I didn't say anything, just shook my head. Once we get to Kaishuiwan, you'll understand. Once we arrive at the culprit's house, Kaishuiwan community, we arrived at the place. This is where the killer lives. That easy? You found out where they live just like that? I nodded, then looked at Lao Gao. Lao Gao, yes, young master. Lao Gao stepped forward and grabbed the doorknob. With a click, the door slowly opened. It's open, young master. Chen Yan looked amazed. She seemed puzzled, and Lao Gao explained. This is a method of using inner energy, like your hand. It can penetrate and unlock it for you. Chen Yan marveled at the dancer's powers. We entered the house, and the scene before us left Chen Yan stunned. Unlike a normal room, this one was pitch black. All the windows were sealed with cement. Chen Yan instinctively shielded me. Let's be careful. I smiled gently. Don't be so tense. The killer hasn't returned. Lao Gao nodded. I indeed didn't sense any true energy or cultivation aura. I saw the door to the bedroom used for disguise. Come take a look. At the same time, in another building on the opposite side, a group of people dressed in white suddenly became alert. He said in a low voice, not good. Someone has entered the room. As soon as he said this, the other three quickly stood up. When they saw us entering the bedroom of room 401, their expressions changed. Who are they? Mutated police. The others looked over too, all showing grim expressions on their faces. The man adjusting the equipment held his face in frustration. I told them long ago to explain things to the secular organizations and tell them to stop investigating the Kaishuiwan community. Why wasn't the message delivered properly? Another woman sighed. Enough talk. What's in that bedroom is very dangerous, and if Qianfeng comes back, it'll be bad. These people will definitely be silenced by him. However, the man with a resolute face shook his head. The one who will be killed is Qianfeng. One of them is very strong, likely a grandmaster from the Yijing origin. A grandmaster? You must be joking. I'm not joking. The aura I sense was just like that. The resolute man said heavily. They might not be mutated police, but hidden dancers among civilians. But that woman, she was clearly the one on TV before Jiang, and she's a cop. Since when could secular organizations command dancers? In any case, we can't let them disrupt the plan we've been laying out for so long. The plan is already nearing its end. Just a little more, and we'll be able to find Qianfeng. Evidence of collusion with the underworld palace. Speaking of this, the group exchanged glances with one another. We'll just have to go over. Hopefully that grandmaster is easy to talk to. After we entered the bedroom, Lao Gao reached out his hand. A flash of white light illuminated the entire room. Chen Yan froze. What are all these? The walls were covered with symbols of dark magic. Chen Yan covered her mouth, barely suppressing the urge to vomit. We need to call for backup, she said. She felt this was no longer just an ordinary case. I pinched my nose and looked around with disgust. No need to call for backup. The killer is a dark cultivator. Sending more ordinary people would just mean more casualties, and it's fine. The relevant department will be here soon. Relevant department? Chen Yan was confused. The next second, a few voices came from the bedroom door. Hello. Chen Yan tensed up instantly. She gripped her gun and aimed quickly at the door. But when she saw, for people in matching white uniforms, she hesitated slightly. Lao Gao, on the other hand, recognized them. Young master, they're from the Inspire department. Upon hearing this, the four were not surprised at all. They looked at Lao Gao with great respect. The resolute man greeted politely, "Hello. My name is Li Yan." Just as the elder said, "We are members of the Inspire department. We've now taken over the Kaishuiwan case and are leading the investigation. These are all my teammates." Chen Yanyan asked with some confusion, "Since you already know the location of the killer's room, why haven't you just captured him directly?" That was what Chen Yanyan couldn't understand. At first, she thought the Inspire department just couldn't find where the killer was hiding, but now, clearly, that's not the case. Hearing this, Li Yan looked a bit uneasy. "Miss, the situation here is a bit complicated," he said. "And this is a classified mission, so we can't reveal too much." Chen Yanyan wanted to ask more, but my voice interrupted her. "In that case, let's leave. Let the professionals restore the scene. After all, you probably don't want the homeowner to know. Someone entered their room, right?" Li Yan glanced at Lao Gao behind me. "Thank you for understanding." After saying that, he became even more curious about us, not to mention Lao Gao being a grandmaster. Even this young man, gave him a strange feeling. I had no trace of true energy on me at all. It was too strange. Chen Yanyan seemed conflicted, but I forcefully dragged her away. After watching us leave, Li Yan immediately gave the order, "Go investigate. We can't let all our efforts go to waste." Understood. Li Yan looked at the scene before him, and the chunks of flesh in the corners. He sighed lightly, "Sorry. But to eliminate the underworld palace, this is the only way." Back in the car, Chen Yanyan seemed a little depressed. I said to her, "Yanyanji, now you understand how complicated the situation is, right?" Chen Yanyan nodded silently. "What are you trying to say?" "I'm saying that most dancers, don't they treat ordinary people's lives like they don't matter?" Hearing that, a subtle expression flashed in my eyes. "Why do you say that?" Yanyan recalled what she saw in the bedroom. From the symbols of dark magic to the chunks of flesh scattered in the corners, all of it showed how cruel the homeowner was. Because the owner of that house had killed so many people, but the dancer department clearly knew this person's location, yet still allowed him to kill freely. I gently comforted her. "Perhaps things aren't always as simple as they seem." These words made Chen Yanyan pause. She looked at me. Then she heard me continue. "Just like they said, things here are a bit special and complicated. The owner of that house might have some background or power unknown to us. Sometimes, the dancer department might need to weigh many factors and make decisions we can't easily understand. After all, they are dancers, not the same as us ordinary people." Chen Yanyan clenched her fists tightly. "Just because of that, they think it's okay to let the killer continue? No matter what, I still think it's wrong." I didn't say anything else. According to the story, the dancer department should almost be ready to find the evidence linking the underworld palace with the dark dancers. As long as they get that evidence, they can launch a full-scale strike on the underworld palace. Just then, Lao Bao, who was driving, suddenly spoke up. "This is a complicated and dangerous world. There are even things in this world that even dancers themselves don't know. Miss Yanyan, you don't have to dwell on it. Just know that the matter of Kaishuiwan is no longer something the secular organizations can interfere with. Trust me, before long, you'll receive notice to suspend all investigations." Chen Yanyan listened to their words, her heart unable to calm down. Suddenly, she said, "If I joined the dancer department, I would never do things like that." "Jiu Heoken, do you know how to join the dancer department?" I smiled upon hearing that. "You'll have to ask Uncle Chen about that, if he's willing to talk. That is, ask my dad." Chen Yanyan pursed her lips. Then she sat silently to the side, lost in thought. Good. According to the original plot, Chen Yanyan will soon join the Inspire department. There, her dancer potential will be discovered. A once-in-a-century genius, apparently, through numerous trials and battles, she eventually becomes the first female director of the department. That power in the storyline provided endless help to Xiaolin. But for now, I smiled to myself. Everything was unfolding just as planned. Tonight's banquet will definitely be interesting. The underworld palace, huh? Let me think. Who was the one in the original story that colluded with the dark cultivators? Oh right, it was one of Yan Huang's adopted sons. Smiling faintly, I seemed to have thought of something amusing. The corners of my mouth slightly curled up. Today was a special day. Yangxing Group was announcing its next heir. Countless luxury cars arrived. Out of them stepped many high-ranking figures. Guests watching from afar couldn't help but marvel, as expected of the Yangxing Group. To think they could invite so many big names. Shenner also arrived at the scene. He softly told Xiaolin beside him, "Xiaolin, once we're inside, don't talk randomly. You're my bodyguard now. Just stay by my side. Don't do anything that will draw unnecessary attention." Xiaolin nodded repeatedly in agreement, but as they entered the main hall, he seemed to hear people around him whispering. Shenner is here too. Does that mean young Master Jiyu will also come? Young Master Jiyu? Why would this relate to Jiyu Heoken? In the presidential suite of the hotel, Yin Huang's adopted son Long Zaishan looked grimly at the person who had broken into his room uninvited. The other party sat on the sofa with a beaming smile, with his foot stepping on his own partner. That demonic dancer Tian Feng, who killed many people. So, Mr. Long Zaishan, let's have a little chat. I looked wickedly at Long Zaishan, whose face had turned grim. You wouldn't want everyone to know about your ties to the demonic path, would you? As the owner of the Yamahal, Long Zaishan looked embarrassedly at the man threatening him. There was no sign of cultivation from him, clearly just an ordinary person. Although the family behind him was the most powerful in Jianghai, the Jiyu family, at most he was just a simping fool addicted to chasing pretty girls. He shouldn't have been a threat. But why? You're really good at hiding yourself. Young Master Jiyu, I mocked as I looked at Long Zaishan. Aren't you the same, Long Zaishan? Who would have thought the righteous heir of Yamahal would be colluding with such lowly demonic cultivators? Hearing this, Long Zaishan's eyes darkened. So Yin Ning really knew. He gritted his teeth, damn it. How did it come to this? Clearly none of those official dancers had found anything. He thought he had hidden it well enough. Jiyu Heoken was just an ordinary person at this distance. He was confident he could kill him in one strike. He glanced at Lao Gao nearby, ready to make a move. His heart sank. That old man from the Jiyu family was likely someone close to Grandmaster level strength. Long Zaishan stared at me intently. What exactly do you want? Seeing that Long Zaishan had given in, I smiled. It's simple. I want you to form a partnership with me. Long Zaishan looked confused. What kind of partnership are you talking about? If you mean a business partnership, our Yan Xing Group is already business partners with the Jiyu family. However, I shook my head. Not the Yangxing Group, but the Yamahal. The Yamahal. Long Zaishan's heart sank. The Yamahal is tied to the dancers. What exactly does he want? I smiled without saying a word, waiting for his response. Actually, I had considered many angles, because according to the original novel's plot, Long Zaishan didn't survive more than a few chapters. The reason was that he was discovered collaborating with the demonic path by Yan Huang. So in a fit of rage, he was killed, and Yamahal was no longer hunted by the dancer division. So, when I found out today's banquet was to announce Long Zaishan as the next successor of Yangxing Group, I had a bad feeling, especially when I came to my senses and realized Leng Linger hadn't died, as she was supposed to. So Leng Xingku had no reason to blacken and become the strongest force. You could say the plot started to shift. Ever since Leng Linger didn't die, that's why I chose to directly confront Long Zaishan. As for why, it's because I've thought about it for a long time, and I came up with a hypothesis, and most likely, it's something like this. Yan Huang didn't die in the original book, because Leng Qingquiyu's power helped extend his life. Which means, without Leng Qingquiyu's help, Yan Huang would surely die. And today's banquet would announce Long Zaishan as the successor. So, what I need to do now is find Long Zaishan and get him under my control. The reason I'm doing this isn't anything else. I just thought, what if, just like in the original story, the world's corrective force intervenes, forcing Yamahal to mess with the protagonist, but ends up getting killed by him, essentially feeding him experience and leveling him up. What a loss that would be. After all, I don't know when Leng Qingku will recover and regain her former power like Yuan Shu. So I can't afford to gamble, so I might as well take them all indirectly. Then have him gather these villains into a group to take down the protagonist Xiao Ling, wipe him out all at once. Time ticked by second. Long Zacian looked at me. Fine. I accept your request. Since you've come to me directly and proposed this cooperation, you must already know that today my godfather is announcing I will become the successor of Yangxing Group. When he said that, Long Zacian's expression turned complicated. His godfather trusted him immensely, but the old man was getting on in years. Despite having the massive power of Yamahal, he could only remain cooped up in Jianghai. But Long Zacian hoped Yamahal would rule the world. Tianfeng was the key to achieving that. Once Tianfeng's ritual was completed, the overall strength of Yamahal would reach a terrifying level. I nodded. In that case, I'll be taking the person with me. After you return to your brothel, I'll find you again. Watching this scene, Long Zacian suddenly panicked. Wait, I already agreed to your terms. Why are you still taking the person away? Hearing that, I looked at him as if I were staring at an idiot. Idiot, if I leave the person with you, how am I supposed to threaten you? So straightforward. As soon as I said that, Long Zacian was dumbfounded. At the top floor of the hotel, Lao Gao looked at me. Young master, how should we deal with this guy? I glanced coldly at him. Cripple his cultivation. Lock him up. He'll be useful later. According to the original plot, Tianfeng was extremely alert and moved stealthily and mysteriously. So the dancer division couldn't track his movements at all. They didn't even dare to get too close to him, fearing he might be hiding nearby in the shadows. So the only thing known clearly is he returns to Kaishui Garden residential complex every night at midnight. The helicopter flew away. I watched the departing helicopter, and new thoughts began to form in my mind. Keeping Tianfeng was supposedly to threaten Long Zacian. But that wasn't the only reason. The other reason was to prevent Long Zacian from being killed tonight by Yan Huang, because in the original novel, Yan Huang had already discovered Long Zacian's collusion with Tianfeng of the demonic path, even though the plot and timeline had shifted a bit. If nothing goes wrong, tonight would be Long Zacian's last chance. If he hasn't cut ties with Tianfeng yet, then tonight may very well be his end. Moreover, Tianfeng had an even more important use. Chen Yinyan needed a military merit. The merit of killing Tianfeng would be just enough to catch the attention of her mentor from the original story, although it's a bit early for them to meet now. This way, the plot can slowly get back on track. Thinking that, I turned to leave. Alright, let's go check how the banquet is going. Shen Wanner held a glass of champagne, smiling as she chatted with young heirs from various industries. Although the bankruptcy crisis was resolved, Shin Group still desperately needed new partners. She showcased her excellent social skills, and before long, a small crowd had gathered around her. President Shen is truly young and promising. So young, yet already leading such a large company. There were compliments all around. Thank you, seniors. Then one of the bosses, who had been chatting happily, suddenly asked, Oh, by the way, is President Shen still in contact with young Master Jiu? I remember your company had some trouble before. Wasn't it young Master Jiu who helped resolve it in the end? As soon as that was said, everyone else's faces also showed knowing smiles without a word. Upon hearing that, Shen Wanner's expression became a bit unnatural. In the end, were all these people only being nice because of Jiu Heogen? She forced a smile. Yes, we're still in contact. I even visited his home not long ago. As soon as she said that, everyone smiled knowingly again. On Jialin's side, he was a bit frustrated. Shen Wanner was surrounded by so many men. It made him extremely uncomfortable. While he was drinking, a sharp, harsh voice suddenly rang in his ear. Ah? You bitch. Look what you've done. You ruined my dress. Security, where's security? Everyone was immediately drawn to the sudden commotion. Shenwater also looked toward the source of the voice, and with one glance, her pupils contracted. She nearly shouted, "Why is it him?" Cold Linger was holding a silver tray, standing in front of an elegant, wealthy-looking woman. Seeing the woman screaming, Cold Linger spat. "Don't slander me. It was that person next to you who pushed me." The people nearby turned their heads to look over. Hey. I wouldn't have noticed if no one said anything. Why is someone dressed so oddly? In such a high-end banquet hall? Could she have snuck in? And just as everyone was wondering who Cold Linger was, another panicked voice rang out, "Wait. Sorry. Cold Shinen turned his head and realized that his little niece seemed to be in trouble. And the person she offended was none other than the heiress of the Z family, Zijilin. You should know, the Z family is a top-tier family in Jianghai City, and also an important partner of Yangxing Group. This is bad." Cold Shinen kept apologizing to Zijilin. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. My niece was being ignorant. I apologize to you on her behalf." Cold Shinen was drenched in cold sweat. His older niece had warned him. Keep a low profile. Don't use Jiu Heioken's name. Everyone at the banquet is someone the Leng family can't afford to offend. So whatever happens, don't act rashly. An apology should be enough. Seeing Leng Shinan step in, everyone finally reacted. Whoa. Leng Shinan, the Leng family. Oh my. Even the Leng family showed up. Seeing her uncle acting so humbly, Leng Linger was quite displeased. Why should we apologize? It was clearly that woman next to you who was at fault. If anyone should apologize, it's her. Zijilin's anger flared even more. You slut, showing up dressed like that at a banquet. You're clearly in the wrong. And now you're still arguing? Security, get her out of here. As soon as she said that, several Z family bodyguards stepped forward. Miss, please come with us. In a corner of the banquet, two figures dressed in black stood quietly. Meizu looked toward the commotion at the banquet and said to the black-robed figure beside her, "Master, should I intervene?" Leng Xingku replied indifferently, "No need. Linger, don't worry. After tonight, Zijilin will be dead." Meizu nodded in response. At the same time, she silently transmitted an order to everyone present. "Hold your position." Back to Leng Linger's side, Leng Shinan quickly shouted, "Missy, we were invited by Yangxing Group. You can't do this to us." Zijilin scoffed disdainfully. "With who you people are now, you obviously don't deserve to be here. Maybe Yangxing Group sent out too many invitations." Leng Linger struggled, about to mention her brother-in-law, but suddenly a memory flashed in her mind. Leng Shinan's warning from before. "Let go of me if you have the guts. Let me go. I'll tell my sister." For a moment, Leng Linger's gaze darkened, and she stopped herself from speaking. But Zijilin, as if some key word had been triggered, her expression twisted in fury. Her face became distorted. She immediately walked up to Leng Linger. With a fake smile, she asked, "Your sister is Leng Xingku, right?" "Oh right. Why didn't she come today?" Hey, your sister's being bullied by me. And she's nowhere to be found." "Oh sorry, I forgot. Your Leng family is already a name with no substance. A family that's already dead in all but name." Zijilin shouted triumphantly. She didn't notice the atmosphere in the banquet hall growing increasingly eerie. She continued to mock and ridicule Leng Linger. Leng Linger bit her lip hard, trying not to cry. "You bastard. Shut up. Shut up now," Leng Shinan shouted, throwing a punch as he charged forward. "Don't go too far." But he was immediately blocked and pinned to the ground by Zijilin's bodyguards. Zijilin sneered coldly. "Don't look at me like that. You bitch. Oh right? Let me give you a lesson." Zijilin raised her hand to slap her face. "It was going to hurt. Or maybe I should make you like your sister. Blind. Living a useless life and hiding at home forever." A server pushed a food cart towards Zijilin's direction. "Watch the cart. Watch the cart." On Meizu's side, his eyes were full of murderous intent. "Master, please give me the order to kill that woman." Leng Xingku replied calmly, "No need. Don't let such matters disturb your emotions. Don't forget the plan." Meizu was about to say something more, but his eyes seemed to spot something. He quickly shouted, ordering all night organization members who were about to act to stop. Back at Zijilin's side, her hand was raised high, swinging fiercely toward Leng Linger's cheek. But just as it was about to strike Leng Linger's face, a hoarse voice suddenly rang out from behind Zijilin. What did you just say? Zijilin froze. She instinctively turned her head before she could see who was speaking. Asterisk smack crash asterisk. She was slammed by someone onto the banquet table. My gaze was emotionless. What did you just say? Zijilin's face twisted in pain. Her teeth were shattered, and she could only scream in agony. I nodded slightly. Then I grabbed her head and smashed it down hard into the floor. The marble floor of the banquet hall instantly cracked into a massive spiderweb pattern. Zijilin's head embedded into the floor. She stopped moving entirely. The room went dead silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. Why is young Master Gu so angry? Zijilin didn't even insult Shen Wanner. What's he mad about? I had only planned to watch a typical plot where the protagonist Zhao Lin is underestimated, gets provoked, then slaps back. But in this case, Zhao Lin was fine. It was Leng Linger who got cornered. Left with no choice, I stepped in. I originally just wanted Zijilin to apologize to Leng Linger and be done with it. After all, the Z and Gu families are business partners. We're bound to run into each other often. But just a steps in, Zijilin said something that instantly made me lose control. She had no spiritual fluctuations. That was confirmed by Lao Gao. I never thought I was particularly strong. So, how did this happen? Could it be the effect of that cosmic love cultivation technique I've been practicing? The Z family's bodyguards all cried out in panic. Miss. At that moment, a cheerful voice rang out. All right, let's all calm down, okay? It was the eldest daughter of the Yan family, Yan Xingqing. He walked toward me with great interest. Yan Xingqing looked at me with great interest. This man is really interesting. The banquet was originally boring, but he ended up giving him quite a show. Your name is Gu Haoken, right? Yan Xingqing smiled gently. Give me some face. Let's just forget about it. We were all invited to attend the banquet. It wouldn't be good to trouble the host. He smiled slightly at me. What do you think? Yan Xingqing fell to the ground. The whole room was stunned. Even Yan Xingqing was stunned. She froze, covering her face, looking up at the cold expression. Looking at me. You hit me. Shut up. I glared coldly. What kind of people are these? Why does everyone want me to give them face? How much is your face worth? Still want me to give you face? Ugly girl Yan Xingqing. The host, Those words were even more hurtful than the slap to the face. Her eyes turned red immediately. She looked at me defiantly, crying out, Who are you calling ugly? Who are you calling ugly, you bastard? I'll get my fans to cancel you online. Wow, Yan Xingqing's entire image crumbled. She sat on the floor and started bawling. Totally pathetic. The Yan family's bodyguards rushed over immediately. They glared at me angrily. Young Master Gu, what you did was too much. No matter what, you shouldn't have hit our Miss Xiao Yaya. I shouted loudly. Anyone else want me to give them face? Those I glanced at either lowered their heads or looked away. No one in the room responded. Seeing this scene, I finally let out a faint smile. Very good. I now announce to everyone. Listen carefully. The Leng family is under my protection. Before making things difficult for others, think about whether you have the guts to stand before me and negotiate with me. As soon as I said that, everyone looked at the person beside me. Leng Linger, frozen in shock. The Leng family is working with the Gu family. The Gu family had most likely headache. What's going on? Forget it. Bai Jun was somewhat confused. So that's Gu Haoken? The Gu family's young master. Clearly, there's no fluctuation of cultivation in him. Yet this obviously isn't human strength either. Very interesting. Meanwhile, a group of executives looked pale, talking in fear. They all looked toward Shen Wanner, wanting to ask, but Shen Wanner didn't respond. Why the Leng family? Shen Wanner felt deep pain when she saw Leng Linger. She had already recognized her. combined with what I said earlier when I broke things off about getting married. So the one he loves is Leng Qingku. That girl with the ponytail? Shenner felt a sense of defeat. No, Shenner's pupils suddenly contracted. Earlier at the KTV, Lang Linger called me brother-in-law. Brother-in-law Lang Linger's sister. Lang Qingku. Lang Qingku is his fiancée. No way. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Lang Qingku has already become like that. How could Gu Haoken like her? Impossible, definitely impossible. If Gu Haoken really marries her, then what's the point of me staying single all these years? At that moment, Zhao Lin noticed something wrong with Shen Wanner. Wanner, are you okay? Shen Wanner forced a smile. I'm fine. No problem. In another corner, Meizu looked uneasy, because she could feel from her side her master's emotions surging uncontrollably. This is bad. Even though we knew Gu Haoken was hiding his strength, we didn't expect him to reveal it at the banquet. And yet, we still couldn't sense any fluctuation in his cultivation. What exactly is going on? He quietly glanced at Lang Qingku beside him. Is the master starting to suspect Gu Haoken? Otherwise, why would his emotions feel so terrifying? On Lang Qingku's side, he was trembling all over, clenching his teeth tightly. To say something like the Leng family is under my protection, isn't that basically telling everyone that the Leng family has an unusual relationship with the Gu family? That damned man. This will ruin many of my hidden plans. Lang Qingku's thoughts were racing. Meizu thought he was going to kill me. That master. Maybe Gu Hao can learn a technique from a powerful person beside him? A single technique. Lang Qingku paused. Oh, right. Isn't Gu Haoken supposed to be an ordinary person? How can he have this kind of power? What a bastard, keeping everything from me. Lang Qingku was silent for a while. Better investigate it. Meizu let out a sigh of relief. It's Gu Haoken. This time, I actually saved Nini. The chaos at the banquet ended quickly. The hotel hastily cleaned up the scene. Zijilin was also rushed to the hospital. No one wanted to lose face by calling the police. Everyone acted as if nothing had just happened. The guests went back to chatting. A few company heads who were planning to discuss business with Shen Wanner were no longer in the mood. Business can be discussed anytime, but gossip like this can only be talked about now. Wow. Shen Wanner looked a bit embarrassed. She had no intention of bringing up me and the Leng family again. After all, just recently the two of us had completely severed ties. We even wished each other happiness. But these people clearly turned their attention to the Leng family because of the commotion I caused earlier. Shenner glanced not far away. Besides Lang Linger and Lang Shinen by her side, no one dared approach her. I pursed my lips. She walked in my direction. On Zhao Lin's side, seeing Shenner walking away and heading in a particular direction, he immediately found it odd. Thinking about it, Zhao Lin followed her. Elsewhere, Bai Zheng glanced toward me and asked offhandedly, by the way, Kaionlin, I remember you're good friends with Lang Ling from the Leng family, right? Bai Kaionlin responded, immediately emphasizing, we're besties. But why are you asking? Bai Zheng smiled and said, didn't her brother-in-law save you guys last time? I was thinking about going over and saying hello. Bai Kaionlin thought for a moment. Since her brother vouched for her, she no longer had to meet that man, Zhao Lin. So, her mood was excellent. She nodded. Sure. Meanwhile, Bai Lian saw Marong Ci walking silently in one direction. She called out, hey, Marong Ci. Where are you going? Marong Ci paused. To find true love. Bai Lian was instantly speechless and stunned. She looked left and right, afraid he would ruin their plan. Helpless, she stomped her foot and followed him. What kind of teammates are these? Lang Qingku, observing everything from the side, noticed several familiar life forces moving toward Gu Haoken. He frowned. What are Bai Lian and Marong Ci doing over by Gu Haoken? Then he seemed to realize something. His heart sank. Oh no, Bai Lian doesn't know about my relationship with Gu Haoken. Could it be that she's taken a liking to Gu Haoken and wants to make him her next conquest? Leng Xingku calmly said, Meizu. Bring Bai Lian back. But after a moment, the reply he received left him stunned. It was Murong Ci who wanted to go. Bai Lian went to stop him to avoid any trouble. Leng Xingku was a little confused. He knew Murong Ci. He's one of the few known men who can resist Bai Lian's charm. But he has no connection with Gu Haoken. While he was thinking, he heard Meizu continue. It seems Murong Ci has fallen for Gu Haoken. Leng Linger sat silently in the chair. I walked over holding a plate of spicy rabbit heads, looking at the quiet Leng Linger. I walked up and patted him on the head. Hey. Why are you acting all deep? Leng Linger suddenly looked up, but when she saw my face, her face flushed red, and she quickly lowered her head. I slowly looked to the side at Leng Xinan. Uncle Leng. What's wrong with this kid? Leng Xinan cleared his throat. Maybe he's just scared. Leng Linger finally spoke. He glared fiercely at Leng Xinan. No, he's not. Leng Xinan, you old geezer, shut up. I chuckled, then reached out and roughly ruffled Leng Linger's hair. What do you mean, old geezer? Is that how you talk to your elders? You brat, looks like you need to be taught a lesson. Leng Linger grabbed my wrist with both hands, then raised his head, his eyes staring straight at me. But once again, his face turned red. He took a deep breath, threw my hands off, then covered his face and shouted, so annoying. Why did that old geezer make you come here? I was a bit speechless. This brat really is hard to handle. And just as I was feeling speechless, a familiar voice called out, Good evening. As I heard that voice, I turned my head to look. Shenner walked over with a smile on her face. I was puzzled, why is she coming over? Hadn't we already cut ties a long time ago? Still, since I'm now seen as a kind and noble young master, I smiled and greeted her. Good evening. President Shen. Shen Wanner felt a pang in her heart. You used to call me baby. But now her goal was only to use the illusion of chatting with me to attract potential business partners. Even though she was unwilling, Shen Wanner realized that after losing me, she kept running into obstacles in business. Good evening. I didn't expect to see you here. You used to hate coming to events like this. I gave a helpless smile, rubbed Leng Linger's head again, and said to Shen Wanner, That's true, but my sister-in-law is here. After all, luckily I showed up just in time. Otherwise, she might have really been bullied. Shen Wanner looked at Leng Linger. Her face was flush red, as if she was thrilled I had declared it publicly. She looked genuinely excited. Shen Wanner clenched her fist. She greeted Leng Linger. Hello, little sister Linger. So that means your sister is Gu Haoken's girlfriend now? Leng Linger snapped out of it. She quickly stood up and clutched my arm. She looked at Shen Wanner warily. That's right. I'm warning you. Don't go dreaming about getting close to my brother-in-law. It was subtle, but I still noticed it. Shen Wanner's mouth twitched involuntarily. I smiled gently and knocked on Leng Linger's head. Linger, don't cause a scene. A strong woman like President Shen could find any man she wants. I'm sure she's not looking back at the past. Shen Wanner forced a dry laugh after hearing that clear response. She honestly felt a bit empty inside. Like all those years of effort had just been washed away like nothing. Then I said, Leng Xingku is the one I love, and the only true love of my entire life. Shen Wanner felt an emptiness in her heart. She forced a smile. All right, since I understand now, I won't disturb you any further. Leng Linger nodded repeatedly, thinking to herself, hurry up and leave already. The next second, a shocked and stunned voice, filled with disbelief, suddenly rang out. Gu Haoken turned and saw a smiling face, eyes wide with disbelief, looking at me. You, what are you doing here? I had already noticed him. He was just pretending to be surprised upon seeing me. Xiaolin, that's what I should be asking you. Weren't you? I trailed off intentionally. Zhao Lin's expression turned awkward and a little guilty. Shenger was stunned by the scene. You two know each other. At that moment, Bai Kaiolan and Bai Jun walked over, both smiling. Bai Jun stepped in front of me. He extended his hand. Nice to meet you. My name is Bai Jun. I heard you saved my sister. I extended my hand and politely replied. It was nothing. After all, my sister-in-law was there too. Bai Jun chuckled, then let go of my hand. I'd love to get to know you better. But before that, his expression turned cold as he looked toward Shenner. The latter felt chills all over from his stare. Zhao Lin sensed it immediately, and quickly stepped in front of Shenner. What do you think you're doing? Bai Chun's expression didn't change at all. Instead, he looked directly at Shenner and said, Shen Qian is your brother. The word brother made Shen Wanner suddenly recall something, and panic rose in her heart. So, what if he is? Bai Jun nodded slightly, even though it wasn't Shen Wanner who hurt his sister. Since it was her brother, he naturally wouldn't show her any kindness either. And as for the smiling Zhao Lin standing in front of her, he'd lost all goodwill too. He immediately said coldly, Zhao Lin, I advise you to give up on that verbal engagement. My sister is right here. As her brother, let me be honest with you. You shouldn't even think about her. Bai Jun glanced behind him, at the clearly flustered Shen Wanner. Keep your brother in check. Don't let him mess up and give me leverage. Zhao Lin finally realized. Before he left the mountain, his master had told him that a marriage had been arranged for him, and that half of the Dragon King Jade was on his fiancée, the one from the Bai family. Zhao Lin looked at Bai Kailin *, she's my betrothed, *. Most importantly, the half of the Dragon King Jade is on her. At that moment, Zhao Lin's gaze toward Bai Kailin grew visibly more intense. I looked at Bai Jun with amusement. His expression toward Zhao Lin seemed to turn even more unfriendly. I was honestly looking forward to what would happen next, and just as I was thinking that, two figures Bai Lian and Marong Ci walked over. Bai Lian gave me what she thought was her most charming smile. Good evening, handsome. We meet again. I nodded slightly, then asked curiously, is something going on? Bai Jun and Zhao Lin were both staring intently at Marong Ci, their bodies unconsciously tense. To their senses, this guy was very dangerous. Marong Ci took a step forward. His eyes locked directly on me. A saintly aura surged toward me. Bai Chun's eyes narrowed, and he immediately clenched his fist. Zhao Lin also assumed a stance, ready to strike at any moment. I looked at the scene in confusion, at Marong Ci, who was staring me down. I don't remember ever offending this guy. What's with all of you? Leng Linger and the others looked baffled. Why did the atmosphere suddenly get so weird? In a corner, Leng Qingku also noticed the shift in mood. He didn't know what Marong Ci was trying to do, but to prevent anything unexpected, he immediately said to Meizu, stop Marong Ci. Just as Meizu was about to move, the next second, Marong Ci suddenly reached out his hand toward me. Calmly, he said, I'm Marong Ci. I extended my hand as well. Hello, I'm Jiyu Heoken. Just then, as Bai Jun and the others held their breath, thinking he was about to attack, Marong Ci took a deep breath, quickly pulled his hand back, and dashed away in a flash. Bai Lian immediately shouted, hey? Wait for me. She gave me an awkward laugh, then chased after him. I looked on, confused. Meanwhile, Bai Jun and Zhao Lin exchanged a glance, cold sweat trickling down their backs. That guy was really strong. Marong Ci's dangerous aura instantly put Bai Jun and Zhao Lin on high alert. As they watched Marong Ci and Bai Lian quickly leave, Bai Chun's expression turned serious. Zhao Lin let out a silent sigh of relief. Back then, he wouldn't have taken someone like that seriously. After all, he wasn't just a genius. He also had the Dragon King Jade. In time, he was confident he could surpass anyone. But now, the most important source of his accelerated cultivation had been lost. Although his training was still faster than that of most ordinary martial artists, compared to before, it was like heaven and earth. So Zhao Lin's eyes once again burned as he looked at Bai Kailin. He could sense it. Sense that she carried something connected to the same source as his Dragon King Jade. And what's more, Bai Kailin didn't seem to possess any cultivation at all. In other words, that Dragon King Jade's greatest function was completely useless to her. Bai Kailin also noticed Zhao Lin's gaze and frowned slightly. A look of extreme disgust appeared in his eyes. Bai Jun also noticed this. He looked calm and indifferent. He blocked Zhao Lin's line of sight to Bai Qianlin. Zhao Lin, I'm warning you. Don't have any improper thoughts about my sister. Zhao Lin also realized he had acted too emotionally, so he quickly averted his gaze and apologized. Sorry. He couldn't directly say here that Bai Qianlin had something he wanted. After all, Bai Zheng could cultivate. If he found out that the Dragon King Jade could accelerate cultivation and took it, that would be bad. Because Zhao Lin had his back to Shen Wan, he didn't see the look in Zhao Ling's eyes. When she looked at Bai Qianlin, he just felt the atmosphere was getting increasingly strange. So he looked at me and said, Gu Haoken, I'll leave first. You guys talk. He walked away without waiting for my response. He was afraid Bai Zheng might lose his temper and attack him here. Seeing this, Zhao Ling hurriedly followed him as well. After Shen Wan and Zhao Ling left, the atmosphere on my side became a bit more relaxed. I was still feeling a bit confused. I didn't understand why Murong Xiao, who seemed completely emotionless in Yuanshu, would suddenly seek me out. Though strange as it was, one thing was certain. His strength was the greatest within the organization. And he was also the most loyal and most reliable warrior. Suddenly, something occurred to me. In my heart, a thought arose about Bai Lian. If she appeared alone at the banquet, then most likely she had charmed another man to sneak in for food. But if Murong Xiao was also here, then the situation would be different. Every time Murong Xiao was activated, it meant that Leng Qingku had issued an extremely important order. An order that must not fail, absolutely must not fail. In other words, I discreetly glanced at everyone present at the banquet. Among them, many members of the organization have already infiltrated. What is their purpose? Like Uncle Yuan, they want to control the underworld hall. I felt a bit of a headache. I originally thought that since Leng Qingku hadn't regained her sight, she wouldn't be able to do what Yuan did. But now it seems that might not be the case. Think again, think harder. There must be a key factor. Just as I felt like I was about to realize something. Gu Haoken, are you interested in joining? Bai Zheng walked over, smiling on his face. I froze and exited my thinking mode. I looked at Bai Chun's beaming expression and immediately understood what he meant by joining. Most likely, he wanted me to join the dancer division. The strength I just demonstrated made him think I was a dancer. Just as I was about to refuse, I seemed to think of something, so I neither refused nor agreed. I just vaguely said, joining the army, huh? Let me think about it. Leng Linger immediately protested. If I joined the army, there would be no man left at home. No way. Brother-in-law, you can't join the army. If you go, what will sister and I do? Leng Linger immediately started yelling. Then she glared at Bai Zheng and said, Hey, why are you giving my brother-in-law such a terrible idea? Bai Qianlin then clutched Leng Linger's arm and sold out her big brother. Linger, that's just the kind of bad person my brother is. Every time he comes back, he brings someone with him to enlist. Even when others refuse, he still forces them to go. Bai Chun's mouth twitched. This girl was just saying a moment ago that she liked her brother the most, Sai. She was cuter when she was little, but since he rarely comes out and finally encountered a promising talent, he didn't want to give up. So he said to me, Gu Haoken, let's talk further. Wu Wenyan nodded. We moved to a corner of the banquet. There, Bai Zheng got straight to the point and said, Gu Haoken, do you know that in this world, besides ordinary people, there's also a kind of existence known as dancers? He had his reasons for being so direct. After all, he believed that the Jiu family, as a top clan in Jianghai, would surely have informed their child about the existence of dancers. Or at least let me know a little about dancers in general. Of course, Bai Zheng was mistaken, because in the original story, I was indeed very well protected. So I knew nothing about dancers, which led to me dying as a worthless man without any cultivation. I know, but what does that have to do with you trying to recruit me? I smiled faintly. You're not going to say something like, because you see I'm a rare talent. So, you want to pull me into your dancer division, right? Bai Chun's expression turned a little awkward. because that was exactly what he was going to say. Seeing that I already knew everything, he didn't bother pretending to be mysterious anymore and simply said, "It's just as you guessed. When you were teaching Zijilin a lesson, you must have noticed your strength. Felt quite unusual, right?" I thought for a moment, then replied, "I usually work out too." Baijun almost swore. He took a deep breath, then smiled and said, "Ha ha. This has nothing to do with your workouts. It's very likely that you've awakened a true trait inside." I pretended to look puzzled. Awakened a true trait. Seeing my reaction, Baijun patiently explained, "This is a phenomenon our ancient dancer division has discovered in the past few decades, or you could say, a conclusion we've drawn a long time ago. We believe that in order to become a dancer, one had to study step by step the techniques left by our ancestors. Only then could one cultivate true essence. But in recent decades, that idea has been overturned." Speaking of that, Baijun's tone grew slightly excited. He looked at me. "We discovered that some ordinary people, under certain circumstances, could naturally awaken true essence within their bodies, thus becoming innate dancers. One of our division's main tasks now is to find these naturally awakened, innate dancers with true essence and bring them back for training, so they can become heroes who safeguard society." Hearing this, I nodded. "So, I'm what you call a natural-born dancer." Seeing that I was interested, Baijun's eyes lit up with joy. "It's great that you understand. So, will you join us?" He looked at me hopefully. I thought for a moment and still gave a vague answer. "I haven't decided yet. After all, as you can see," I glanced toward a few kids who kept looking our way and smiled. "I'm about to get married. Family comes first." Baijun followed my gaze and suddenly understood. The eldest daughter of the Leng family, Leng Xingku, he really didn't expect these families to come together. Baijun smiled and said with understanding, "You're welcome anytime. As long as you're willing, just give me a call." As he spoke, Baijun pulled out his phone and opened BX. He smiled at me and said, "Let's add each other, it'll be easier to stay in touch." Back to Leng Linger's side. "Brother-in-law, what did you say? Are you really going to enlist?" Leng Linger looked at me nervously, afraid that I'd nod my head. I shook my head after hearing her, and teased, "No way. With such a beautiful sister like yours around, how could I bear to leave?" Leng Linger was happy to hear me praise her sister, as if I was praising her too. She chuckled happily and felt a lot more at ease inside. Hee, I knew you couldn't bear to leave us, brother-in-law." Baijun looked at the scene in front of him and smiled knowingly. "Getting married, huh?" He glanced to the side at the envious look on Bai Kailan's face and sighed in his heart. And just at that moment, the lights at the banquet began to change and flicker. The entire hall dimmed, accompanied by a shift in the music. Beams of light gathered on the stage of the banquet hall. Everyone started reacting. Could it be that the chairman is about to make an appearance? It said the successor will be announced, but no one knows if it's true. I looked over as well. A strange expression flashed in my eyes. According to my plan, Yan Huang should have died. Then Long Zaishan would succeed as the head of Yamahal, and I would take control from there. But now it seems things aren't going that way. This development seems to be aligning with the original book again, but I wonder how Chinku will play it. Oh right, speaking of Chinku, will she be at this banquet too? Just thinking about it though, I don't know why. The thought of her being here too filled my heart with a strange sense of joy. So I looked around, hoping to find her. And at that moment, the host of the banquet began the opening speech. Bai Lang Linger sat at the table with Bai Kailan holding her arm. The two sat together at the banquet, but after listening for a while, they started feeling bored. The former complained, "This woman's speech style is exactly like our school principal's." During the opening ceremony, did they hire the same person to write the script? Bai Kailan chuckled at that. Maybe it was a content studio that provided it. Meanwhile, Bajung quietly listened. Yamahal is about to have a new master. That man known as the King of Hell. Has he finally been worn down by time? Bai Zheng glanced at Leng Linger. A trace of pity appeared in his eyes per child. She had experienced that incident since childhood. He wondered if Gu Haoken knew about it. Thinking of Gu Haoken, Bai Zheng looked left and right, and suddenly froze. The spot where I had been standing was now completely empty. Over by Leng Xingku, Meizu watched the host's appearance, and the lights dimming. She also realized that this darkness was the perfect time for action. So she turned to Leng Xingku and said, "Master, we can begin our operation now. There's still time before the master of Yamahal takes the stage. This period, when everyone is focused on the performance, is the best opportunity for us to act." Hearing that, Leng Xingku silently nodded. This banquet was divided into two parts. The first half included performances by actors and celebrities, and not until the second half would the master of Yamahal make an appearance. Their task was to take control of Yan Huang before he went on stage, to turn him into a puppet of the organization. And the method was simple. Leng Xingku opened her eyes. Runes swirled slowly within her gaze. Dark green pupils appeared in the midst of the darkness, using the power of her evil eye to absorb others' life force and feed it back to the master of Yamahal. At the same time, not only could it extend his life, but also allow them to control him. That was one of the abilities of these eyes. A power based on equivalent exchange. And it was forcibly applied. Leng Xingku calmly gave the order to begin the operation. Regarding this mission, Leng Xingku was full of confidence. In the darkness, no one would be able to detect them. Suddenly, "Hello. Haven't we met somewhere before?" A voice rang in the ears of both of them. Leng Xingku was stunned. Meizu was even more dumbfounded. The two turned their heads to look, and saw me walking over. I looked at Leng Xingku with curiosity. "Aren't you the one who can see us?" Meizu was shocked. Leng Xingku was also shocked. For a moment, the three of us were completely silent in the dim banquet hall. The three of us stared at each other wide-eyed. Meizu started to panic. "Wait a minute. This guy is looking at me, right? And my power has been activated, right? Then why can he see us? He even walked right up to us. How is that possible?" Although Leng Xingku looked calm on the outside, inside, she was panicking like crazy. "Damn it, why can he see us? This shouldn't be happening. This is bad. He actually saw us." No, calm down." Leng Xingku clenched her fist. She and Meizu had not only hidden their auras, they had even altered their appearances. Even someone like me shouldn't be able to recognize them directly. The fact that I could approach and talk to them was already unbelievable. To see through their disguises too, that would be impossible. I, on the other hand, was just curious. I had originally been looking for Leng Xingku. Then just by chance, I noticed two people standing in a corner who looked completely out of place. Let's not talk about Meizu for now. It was mainly the girl wearing a veil who gave me a strange sense of familiarity. After getting closer, that feeling of familiarity only grew stronger. Sensing my suspicious gaze, Leng Xingku calmed herself down. Then she spoke up. Her voice shifted into something more graceful and charming. She looked at me with a hint of mystery, and her eyes carried an amused glint, as if wondering which family I belonged to. "Running over here so boldly, huh? Little brother, have we met somewhere before? By saying that, should I assume you're trying to flirt with me?" I was slightly startled after hearing that. I looked at the woman in front of me, wearing a black veil, her face obscured. I hesitated, unsure of what to say. So strange, although the voice is different, and she looks much older than Xingku. Why does she still feel so familiar? Especially after she spoke. She felt even more familiar. Thinking that, I shook my head. "Please don't misunderstand, no. It's just that, miss. You look very much like someone I love." So I couldn't help but walk over, thinking she might have come to this banquet too. Leng Xingku had a question mark above her head, although Gu Haoken didn't seem to realize her true identity. Why did his words still make her feel so annoyed? I saw the elegant woman in front of me act refined. The corners of her mouth slightly lifted, She gave a soft chuckle. That elegant voice came again. Little brother. Do you know, your flirting technique is already outdated? She said, reaching out to pinch my chin. She teasingly tilted it up and down, then nodded, her tone filled with a hint of pity. What a shame. Even though you're good looking, Big Sister doesn't like men who are too honest and clear-cut.